There's something nobody tells you when you're out shopping for patio furniture. The store doesn't tell you, the catalog doesn't tell you. They often show perfect patios with golden light and cushions that never get dirty, but they don't tell you either. What nobody tells you is that some of the most popular outdoor furniture trends of the last few years aren't just looking dated. Some of them are actively working against you, making your space harder to use, more expensive to maintain, and in one case I'm going to show you first, because it's the most important one, genuinely more dangerous. But before we dive in, here's what makes the difference. Quality materials like HDPE, high-density polyethylene, and Sunbrella fabrics can last 15 years or more, while cheap alternatives fail in 2 to 3 seasons. That's the gap the industry doesn't want you to understand. I'm not here to tell you to throw everything out. Most of these problems have simple fixes. Some of them cost nothing, but I am here to be straight with you about what the outdoor furniture industry has been selling and why some of that stuff isn't doing you any favors. Stay until the end because the last mistake is the one that surprises people the most. It's something everyone recommends, and I think it's completely overrated. Subscribe before we get started. Let's start with the one that matters most, not the most aesthetic one, the most important one for your daily life. For the past decade, patio furniture kept getting lower and lower. Sectional sofas that nearly touch the ground. Lounge chairs with seats only 13 inches off the ground. Those deep sunken designs that look incredible in Instagram photos and that in real life put you in a situation the industry doesn't want to talk about openly. Have you ever tried to get up from one of those low armchairs in front of someone? That moment where your knees end up higher than your hips, where you're reaching for something to grab onto, where you do that forward rocking motion hoping the momentum will help you stand up. That's not a fitness problem. That's a design problem. Ergonomic guidelines for seating establish that the ideal seat height for sitting down and standing up comfortably is between 17 and 19 inches. The same standard used for aging in place design and ADA accessibility guidelines. Most of those trendy sectionals are between 12 and 15. That 4 to 7 inch difference is huge when your knees or your back have any kind of sensitivity, and it gets more relevant every single year that passes. This isn't just aesthetics, it's basic functionality. Your patio should be the place where you rest the most, not the place where you struggle the most just to stand up. If you already have low furniture and don't want to replace it, there are 2 things you can do right now. Add a firm cushion on top to gain some height. Not a soft one that'll sink even more, but a dense one that actually lifts you up. And make sure there's always a stable surface nearby. A side table, a large sturdy planter, something you can push off of when you stand up without it sliding away. If you're buying new furniture, sit in it before you buy it. Stand back up. Could you do it without help, without that rocking motion? If the answer is no, it's not the right furniture for you no matter how beautiful it looks. And there's something else nobody mentions about low furniture that's worth saying out loud. It's not just the getting up. It's the time you spend sitting in it. When a seat is too low and too deep, your lower back has no real support. Your hips end up at an angle that after 20 to 30 minutes starts to feel like pressure. And what should be a relaxing afternoon on the patio turns into that moment where you realize you've been uncomfortable for a while, but didn't want to be the first one to get up. The right furniture has 2 features that catalogs almost never photograph well, because they don't look dramatic. Proper seat height, which we already talked about, and a backrest that actually supports your mid-back. Not a decorative 5-inch backrest that's only there for the photo. A real backrest where you can lean back without your spine floating in midair. When you go to a store to test out furniture, sit all the way back. Lean into the backrest. Stay there for 2 minutes. Does it still feel good? Or are you already trying to find a more comfortable position? That test tells you more than any catalog photo ever will. Now, let's talk about something that hits you directly in the wallet.
And this is a topic where the industry has been especially dishonest. Cheap synthetic wicker. Wicker became the default material for outdoor furniture because it looks warm. It looks natural. It looks like something that belongs outside. And manufacturers figured out they could make it cheaper and cheaper by using low-grade plastic instead of the right materials. The result is that piece of furniture that looks perfect in the store, and then after one summer in Florida, in Texas, in Arizona, starts showing you what it really is. Fading, cracking, strands coming loose at the corners, that shiny, almost sticky texture that screams clearance rack from across the yard. The difference between wicker that lasts and wicker that does not come down to a material called HDPE, high-density polyethylene. It is UV resistant, it does not crack in the heat, it does not fade, and it can last 10 to 15 years with minimal upkeep. Brands like Polywood build their entire reputation on HDPE construction, often offering warranties up to 20 years. The material has a matte finish that actually resembles a natural material because that is what it was designed to do. When comparing outdoor furniture materials, here is what you need to know. HDPE wicker lasts 15 to 20 years. Teak wood requires annual maintenance but can last decades. Powder-coated aluminum is lightweight and rust-resistant, while cheap vinyl wicker fails in 2 to 3 years. The warranty periods tell the real story. Quality HDPE comes with 15 to 20-year warranties, while cheap alternatives offer 1 year or less. Cheap wicker is made from vinyl or low-density plastic. It has that telltale shine. And the weave, if you look closely, has inconsistencies, rows that twist, uneven spacing because it was mass-produced with no real quality control. The math is simple and nobody does it for you when you are standing in the store. A cheap wicker set might run you $500 to $600. It looks bad in 2 or 3 years. A quality set costs $2,000 to $3,000. It lasts 15 years. Over a decade, the cheap set costs you twice as much and gives you half as much. If your wicker is already showing wear, there is something you can do to extend its life. Spray paint made specifically for plastic and exterior resin can buy you a season or two while you save up for something better. It is not a permanent fix, but it can help in the short term. And when you buy the next one, look specifically for HDPE in the product description. If it doesn't mention it, assume it's not there. Here's something that affects your family's health that almost nobody connects to patio furniture. And it has to do with cushions. Traditional outdoor cushions are made with foam that absorbs water. After rain, after morning dew, after someone sits down in wet clothes from the pool, that foam holds on to moisture. And in humid climates, especially coastal areas and the Gulf Coast, in less than 48 hours, mold can start growing inside the cushion where you can't see it. Not on the surface, inside. Where no cleaning product can reach. The problem isn't just cosmetic. Mold in cushions you use regularly, that you touch, that you breathe near, can trigger allergies, respiratory irritation, and worsen conditions like asthma. For those of us living in high humidity climates, this isn't a theoretical risk. It's something happening in backyards all over the country right now. The solution exists and it's not complicated. Quick dry foam cushions are designed to let water pass through instead of absorbing it. They dry in minutes, not hours. And the right fabric makes all the difference. Sunbrella comes with a 5-year warranty and is mold resistant, UV resistant, and designed specifically for real outdoor conditions. Olefin fabrics offer similar benefits at a lower price point, both incorporating UV stabilizers that prevent fading and degradation. Avoid natural fibers outside. Cotton, linen, any material that feels luxurious indoors is a moisture trap outdoors. And the simplest habit you can start right now. When you're not using the patio, stand your cushions on their side. Don't leave them flat. On their side, air circulates across both surfaces and they dry out much faster. If your cushions already smell musty even after you've cleaned them, the mold has already made it to the inside. At that point, the health risk isn't worth the savings of keeping them. There's a storage habit that makes a huge difference and that most people just don't do simply because nobody ever told them to. When you're done using the patio for the day, don't leave the cushions lying flat on the furniture. Put them away. You don't need an elaborate storage room or a special piece of furniture. A plastic bin with a lid, a heavy-duty storage bag, even a large covered basket that can stay right on the patio itself. It's the accumulated exposure time that destroys cushions. Not one rainstorm, not one dewy night. It's the weeks and months of constant moisture, constant sun, constant dust that gradually break down both the fabric and the filling. Cushions that get put away when they're not being used last twice as long as ones that stay outside permanently, and they look better for longer because the fabric doesn't fade at the same rate. If putting them away every night isn't realistic for you, at least do it when you know you won't be using the patio for several days. One rainy weekend where the cushions sit outside soaking wet does more damage than weeks of normal use. This is the kind of habit that seems small and that 3 years down the road makes the difference between cushions that still look great and cushions you need to replace. Now something that's purely cosmetic but worth mentioning because it's in almost every patio and it's making well-equipped spaces look smaller and harder to use than they should be. Furniture that's too big for the space. The massive sectional that seemed perfect in the store and that on your 12 by 15 foot patio leaves no room to walk around. Chairs so deep that to get to the table, you have to move them completely out of the way. A space that should feel like an outdoor room and instead feels like an obstacle course. Outdoor design is moving towards something different. Lighter pieces, more modular, ones you can rearrange depending the moment. A quiet afternoon for two. A family get-together where you need more seats. Furniture that fits your life instead of furniture that your life has to work around. Before you buy any outdoor furniture, do one thing. Map out its footprint on the floor with painter's tape. Walk around it, pretend to use it. Can you move comfortably? Is there room for 2 people to pass at the same time? If the answer is no on paper, it's going to be no in real life. And if you already have furniture that's taking over the space, consider removing 1 or 2 pieces instead of replacing everything. Sometimes a patio with less furniture feels bigger, more inviting, and easier to use than one that's fully loaded. There's a color trend that dominated patios for almost a decade, and that's aging in a way designers describe with one very specific word: cold. Gray. Gray wicker, gray cushions, gray planters, gray tables, everything in that palette that felt modern, sophisticated, safe. And now, when you see an all-gray patio, something in your brain registers immediately. This was done 10 years ago. The problem with gray outdoors is not just that it dated itself. It is that gray does not talk to nature. The green of plants, the brown of wood, the terracotta of the earth, all those colors that exist naturally outside, gray ignores them. It runs parallel to them instead of connecting. What is replacing gray is not dramatic colors or risky trends. It is the tones that should have been there all along. Sand, cream, olive, warm brown, colors that work with the outdoors instead of against it. And the good news is, if your structure is gray, that is fine. Gray frames are versatile. What you can change without replacing the furniture are the cushions. Swapping gray cushions for cream or olive green ones completely transforms the visual warmth of the space. It costs a fraction of what replacing the furniture would, and the impact is immediate. And while we're talking about color, there's something related I want to bring up because it's in almost every patio. And with one very small change, it completely transforms how the whole space feels. The planters. Those black or dark gray plastic pots that come with the plants when you buy them at the nursery. The ones nobody ever swaps out because the plant is doing fine and the pot works even though it looks exactly like what it is. A temporary nursery container. A terracotta planter, a ceramic one in a warm tone, even a natural fiber basket, completely changes the relationship between the plant and the space. The plant stops looking like something you just set down there and starts looking like something that actually belongs there. You don't have to replace every single planter. Start with the most visible ones, The ones near the entrance to the patio, the ones closest to the seating area, the ones your eye lands on first when you step outside. 3 or 4 well-chosen planters do more for the look of the space than 20 plants sitting in black plastic nursery pots. And if you have plants in different sizes, group the planters in ODD numbers. 3 together, 5 together. ODD numbers create a composition that the eye reads as intentional. Even numbers read as symmetrical and a little stiff. It's a small detail, but it's exactly the kind of detail that makes a space look designed. Designed without anyone being able to explain exactly why. And we've made it to the last one. The one that surprises people the most because it's something everyone recommends. It's on every list of how to make your patio more inviting, and I have a different take on it. String lights everywhere. Hold on. I'm not saying string lights are bad. I'm saying the excess of string lights. That trend of covering absolutely every available surface with strands of lights until the patio looks like a chain restaurant trying to seem romantic. That is done. When lights are everywhere, they stop creating atmosphere and start creating visual noise. The effect you were going for, that warm, intimate feeling of a summer night, gets lost when there's too much of it. It's like perfume. The right amount is memorable. Too much is all you notice. What works is intention. A single line of lights along the edge of a roof or pergola. Lights that frame the space instead of filling it. That define where your outdoor zone ends without turning it into a carnival. If you have multiple strands of lights right now, take half of them down. Literally. Keep the ones that frame and remove the ones that fill. The space is going to breathe differently, and paradoxically, it's going to feel warmer, not colder. That's what I wanted to show you today. Not so you go out and replace everything you have, but so that the next time you use your patio, you look at it with different eyes. So you know what's working for you and what's working against you. Because your outdoor space shouldn't be the place where you have to work the hardest. It should be the place where you rest the most, where you can sit comfortably, stand up without thinking about it, breathe without mold from the cushions getting in the way, and stay out there until you decide it's time to go back inside. That doesn't require the biggest patio or the highest budget. It requires the right decisions. And now you have them. Which one of these mistakes do you have in your patio right now? Tell me in the comments, and if there's something you disagree with, tell me that too. Those are my favorite conversations. The next video on screen shows you exactly what to add to your outdoor space to make it feel like another room in your home. See you there!